Hold on. Yep, right about there. What's up, everyone? I don't know about y'all, but I'm finding myself with a lot of free time and the itch to do something really productive with it. So I spent a little time thinking and I came up with 6 useful steps that people can use to really maximize the productivity with all this free time they have and with limited things that they can do. You know, the idea behind this video is to try to make something light and positive out of this quarantine. This is the perfect time to build a new routine and to work on your habits and your goals. So if this sounds interesting to you, keep watching and we're just gonna dive right in. First step that I'm going to recommend is adding screen time to your phone. It seems pretty simple, but when you limit the amount of time that you're actually able to look at the apps that you have on your phone, you're going to find yourself with a lot more free time than you're used to. If you take a second to actually look at your screen time analytics, you may be surprised by exactly how much time you're spending on each app or on your phone in general. It'll actually give you counts of how many times you've looked at your phone or how many times you've opened it and exactly how many minutes you spent on each app. Found myself spending upwards 5-6 hours a day just wasting time on Instagram, Facebook, Reddit, all those things. Now if you look at those numbers and consider how much of that time you're sitting there mindlessly scrolling and consuming things that really are of no value, you'd be quite surprised about exactly how much time you might be wasting. By adding screen time limits, you're actually going to gain a surprising amount of time that you may not have known that you had otherwise. A couple ways you can go about this. You can set a downtime restriction that sets a time frame throughout your day, and you can schedule individual days to where it blocks certain apps for use during that time. And secondly, you can go in and you can actually add individual limits for specific apps or a collection of apps. You could say social media, Reddit, Facebook, Instagram, etc. Or you can say specifically, I want to spend 30 minutes on Instagram a day, 30 minutes on Reddit a day, as opposed to just throwing them all into one group. Now, you can set a passcode to where you can unlock them if you need to, but that's really not the point. And I found that this actually has given me a lot of productive time, and I found myself actually picking up on hobbies and stuff that I didn't really spend a lot of time with before. Spent a little more time reading, mainly just... I guarantee if you take advantage of this and limit yourself to 30 minutes or an hour a day of screen time, you'll find yourself surprisingly productive because you're going to have to be doing something with that time or else you're just going to go crazy. Step 2 is to take advantage of this time and plan and work on your daily habits. Whether they're habits that you already have that you want to focus on or if they're new habits you want to implement in your life, now is a good time to start these up. There are various tools available to you to work on this, and one of them that I found myself liking is an app called Productive. The nice thing about Productive is that you can set the daily habits and you can set reminders and timers to go along with them. For example, I like to set a reminder to read for 30 minutes every day, and I have it remind me at 9 a.m. Here's your list of things that you want to work on. And you can actually set timers for specific habits, so you can set a 30-minute timer for reading, a 60-minute timer for writing, and the app actually allows you to start the timer for that habit and then complete the habit once you're done. It has a really simple swipe to complete, swipe to undo. It's really friendly, and they utilize psychology of streaks and completion because it really feels bad to break a streak that you might have going for 5 days just for one day where you're not really feeling up to the task. Step 3 is to read at least 30 minutes a day. And the point of this is really just to give yourself a dedicated 30 minutes a day to entertain your brain and to block off time for learning if that's what you like to do. I like to read up on self-improvement, philosophy, and I find if I don't hold myself accountable and really block off a certain part of my schedule for reading, I may not get around to it. I'm very much a routine person, and when I have these types of things built into my routine, I am more likely to stick with it. That's what I'm suggesting for you to do here is to take 30 minutes of your day and block it out every day and stick to that time and just read something that you enjoy, read something that you're interested in, or maybe use it just strictly for learning something new. For example, this morning I woke up and I went downstairs, made a cup of coffee, grabbed my book, and sat outside for about 30 minutes. And I think that this is going to be perfect for me because I can kind of tie a few different things together. I can wake myself up, get my brain stimulated, read, and I can be outside and get some sunlight while I'm drinking my coffee. I find it's actually a really soothing way to start my day and will probably be how I do it moving forward. Step 4 is to take a 20 to 30 minute walk every day with zero input. And what I mean by zero input is no reading, no social media, no phone, no podcasts, no nothing. The idea behind this is that you're gonna give yourself a little bit of calm and quiet to where you can collect your thoughts and listen to what your mind is trying to tell you. And aside from blocking in some time to get some sun and activity in every day, you're gonna give yourself just a quiet moment to be present. And you'd be surprised by how much noise we deal with every day, and you really don't notice it until you provide yourself with a moment of silence. You know, the increasing amount of input and stimulus that we're confronted with all the time, if you think about it, we're always listening to music, we always have Netflix on in the background, we're always watching something on YouTube. There are very few moments in time where we allow ourselves some time to breathe, some stillness, and some quiet. And I've actually surprised myself a few times. Whenever I give myself the space and time to think, I've found solutions to the issues that I may be facing that day. That allows me time to really kind of process that information and think it through. And really that personal time with yourself is super useful, and it's really just something that we should be scheduling more time in our days for. All right, step 5, and this one's actually pretty big, and that is to plan a project with a completion date 2 weeks from today. This could be anything that you've wanted to do for a while but haven't had time for, whether it's building something or learning a skill, learning a new language. Not that you could really do that in 2 weeks, but you see what I'm getting at here. You want to utilize this time that you're forced to stay inside to deliver on a personal project of some sort. The whole idea behind this is to give you a measurable, definitive date that requires you to start now to complete it. And really what we want to do is build it into our routine where we have some minimal daily time that we spend working on it. Because the idea is to choose something that you'd want to continue after the 2 weeks. This is just your starting ramp for it. Having a completion date for some stage of that project is going to be really useful for getting the momentum built and getting that velocity going to continue through after the 2 weeks. And something you may find useful is to come up with something that'll hold yourself accountable, whether it's accountability buddy or making a bet with your friend or having a deliverable date to someone else saying, I'm going to do this thing in 2 weeks and I'm gonna have something to show to you. Having that measure of accountability there is really gonna help with the progress and the follow through on the project that you choose. So this is really an imperative step to do. But most importantly, I would choose something that you find yourself passionate about, or something that you think you may become passionate about, because really that is what's gonna drive your why and is gonna keep you moving beyond the 2 weeks. And the last step, which you may have seen coming, is to add some kind of exercise routine into your week. Now this could be on a weekly basis, although a daily basis would be better. You know, it doesn't have to be anything crazy. You don't have to go and squat 20 sets every day. A walk, a jog, some kind of stretching or active mobility, anything that might help get your blood flowing, get your body feeling good and the endorphins flowing. If you're not ready for a daily thing, you could always just choose 3 days per week that you'll stick to every week, where you'll do some kind of activity. I'm not here to tell you what kind of activity you need to do. I'm a big fan of strength and conditioning, of course. Strength training has a lot of benefits, especially if not for mood and hormones, it's for body composition. So it's something to consider. But a lot of us, you know, especially being stuck at home, it requires equipment that we may not have. There are plenty of free exercises and workouts on the internet that you can do. A majority of really productive workouts can be done just with your body weight alone. You're always welcome to reach out to me if you'd like some ideas. But again, building this into your routine is imperative because we want to make this a healthy habit moving forward. We don't want this to be something that stops at the end of quarantine or when your life resumes back to normal. You want to use this time to productively restructure and reshape your life into something that will benefit you in the long run. And that's really why I'm talking about building routines and building habits. So it really boils down to choosing how many days a week that you'd like to stick to. I would suggest 3 or more. Choosing which days you want to stick to with rest and recovery in mind, and really driving that into your routine and sticking to it moving forward. The take-home message here is to really take advantage of the time that we find ourselves stuck at home. We want to evaluate our schedule and consider where we can find pockets of free time that we may not have had before, and really use those pockets of newly found free time as well as we can to restructure and build habits that we want to have moving forward in the following weeks. So really the best time to start is now, as we find ourselves limited in the things that we can do to make these weeks worthwhile and worth our time. You know, the whole point of this video is just to provide suggestions on what we could do with the time that we have to be as productive as possible in the situation that we find ourselves in, and really kind of turn it into the best positive thing that we can. Anyway, that's it for this video, guys. I hope you found the information here useful. Feel free to comment what you think below. Any questions you might have or any feedback would be great. Feel free to share with anyone that you think might find it useful. And I really hope everyone's staying indoors, safe and healthy during this quarantine. Take it easy, y'all.
so that I can find productive